following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly. Hello, and welcome back to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name is Matthew, and my favorite species of squirrel is what Wikipedia calls the Asian tricolored squirrel.
And my name is Ryan, and my favorite squirrel is whatever those little fuckers that lived on Pitt State's campus was. I don't know what they're called, but they were brave and bold and beefy.
Yeah, they were wild. Like, I don't know many squirrels that will, like, not, like, run at a person, but, like, run across somebody's foot. But I heard, like, multiple stories of people being like, yeah, a squirrel just, like, ran over me.
I think that they just got so used to, like, inebriated college students walking across campus at night just, like, feeding them. Because they were very domesticated for wild squirrels.
They were domesticated, but they were at the same time also, like, feral, if that makes sense. Because I remember, like, multiple times just sitting out in the oval or whatever it was called and watching squirrels just, like, freak out for no apparent reason. And just being like, should I be concerned?
It was good times. I miss those squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
Their chunky little bodies and acting kind of like raccoons.
Yeah. But we're not talking about squirrels from Pitt State today, Ryan. And
we are talking about squirrels, though. Well,
yes,
a squirrel.
A squirrel. A squirrel and a flower. That's right. We're talking about squirrel flower yet again on this podcast.
It's not our fault she keeps putting out bangers.
Yes.
Have we explained what this podcast is, Matthew?
No. But maybe we should, just in case this is somebody's first one for some reason. What do we do on this show, Ryan?
On this show, Matthew, we like to sit down, have a drink, and try to be succinct about various topics.
Mm-hmm.
And we are successful. Hold a second. I am crunching the numbers. About 12% of the time.
So we're successful in that we have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part. We got a whatever a good batting average is for that. Mm-hmm. And then we have about the opposite for being succinct, as is proven by this sentence.
We like tangents. We like forgetting where we're going.
We like forgetting what we're talking about for an episode.
Mm-hmm. And then we wrap it up and we just move on.
We don't address it. We just end the show.
Not a lot of thought into the process, kiddos. There's a little peek behind the curtain for you.
Yep. So what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a rum and coke again. Maybe, is that what I had last time? I don't remember. It could have just been when we were hanging out.
I think that was in the episode because I remember talking about Pitt State bars because that's what I would order in a panic.
Well, I'm drinking a rum and coke. I do happen to have a beautiful window right now, and it's bright, it's sunny, it's summery.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a little hint to what you're drinking, if I'm correct?
I did put in a good word with the entity upstairs for this beautiful day and be like, hey,
Cryptid Dave.
Dave's you know,
cryptid.
it's a certain summer. It's a couple certain summers, but the one we're talking about specifically is Shandy Boy summer.
Shandy Boy summer.
why don't we get that summer vibe? It's weirdly cold for July, but whatever. Just get that sun going, and I'll do my part and drink a shandy. So that's my rambly way of saying I'm drinking a shandy.
I think peak shandy drinking for you and what I envision in your future.
Mm-hmm.
For the listeners at home, Matthew and I have been talking about road trips-ish lately.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically a certain convenience store in the second is Alaska technically bigger than Texas?
I think so. I think Texas is the second biggest. Don't tell them, but
the biggest state in the continental, in the lower 48.
Contiguous? Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Anyway, we were talking about Buc-ee's, and they had these wild shorts. And so, like, I feel like peak summer shandy Matthew is cold shandy in one hand, fistful of beaver nuggets, and head-to-toe Buc-ee apparel.
That would be a powerful look.
It would be. And it's one I hope we get to create.
I feel like that's like holding all 6 infinity stones. It's not for most mortal. I might die, but at least I would have drank a shandy.
You would have drank a shandy.
And had some beaver nuggets.
But we're not talking about beavers, are we, Matthew? We're talking about squirrels. Squirrels that like flowers and write good music.
Yep. So, today, that beautiful segue perfectly sets us up for our topic, which is Squirrel Flowers' at the time latest album, Planet I, which is, I think, how it should be pronounced, but I don't know, because the I is in parentheses.
I read it as Planet 1, but I am just realizing that you don't do Roman numerals lowercase. Yeah, you do.
Can you do lowercase numbers? What would that mean for everybody?
What?
Could you do lowercase numbers? Like, could I have a lowercase 1?
If you write it in Roman numerals, yeah.
But is that different than regular 1?
No, it's the same. I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this, and I'm so sorry if you're trying to set up some good goop. I cannot figure it out for the life of me.
In your defense, I don't know either. I think it's the shandy talking. Dave is trying to solve the life, universe, and everything question through me for some reason. But yeah, so today we're talking about Planet
I
or
Planet
1.
The 2021 album from Squirrel Flower.
What we could
12
do,
songs, 43 minutes, good vibes all the way through.
Good times, great oldies in the future. Have you ever thought about how in the future Squirrel Flower is going to be oldies?
Yeah, I don't like thinking like that. I just kind of ignore it and move on. Also, are we
speaking through me again?
I also, I don't know, I find it interesting that one day, like, our kids are going to ask us to turn this off.
Not my kids.
If we ever have children.
If my kids ask me to turn off Squirrel Flower, they're not my kids. Something happened. They're variants.
As you said in the intro, this is not the first time we've talked about Squirrel Flower. Do you want to kind of go into your experience with the artist? She's just an artist, right? Not like Squirrel Flower is not a band.
I think we have also tried to suss this out before. I think it's just
her.
Ella Williams is Squirrel Flower. Though I have seen her perform with other people, I don't think they're technically Squirrel Flower.
Okay.
I think they're just the entourage.
Yeah.
But So I used to, back when my PS4 wasn't dead, I would pull up YouTube and just kind of hit, I don't remember what it was called, but like YouTube would suggest music mixes based off the shitty indie music you listen to. And I believe Red Shoulder was in one of those mixes, and that's kind of how I found out about her. And then I looked up the rest of her stuff, and I was like, this rocks. And then I was like, Ryan, I'm going to make you listen to this. So what's your experience?
That's when you kind of pass the baton. You have a habit of sending me music, and I do try to listen to everything that you send me, at least like the first 20 seconds to like get the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know like the middle part of the song is probably the better chunk to listen to get like a sense of the vibe, but
sometimes.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that you sent Squirrel Flower. I don't know that you sent me Red Shoulder. I think the first one you sent me was Headlights.
I think that's right, because I thought that was more your vibe than Red Shoulder was.
Mm-hmm. And you were right. And then I also feel like before that, like I feel like at some point you and I stumbled onto So Hot You're Hurting Me.
Hurting My Feelings.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. By Caroline Polachek.
Yeah. And she's on that track.
She did a cover of it.
She did a cover of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that was really good too. She's just a good artist. No, but you sent it to me, and it was one that like stuck with me. Because I appreciate in some form any band that you send to me,
mm-hmm.
but not all of them enough to like actually like put into my playlists and like rotate into my expanding list of artists I thoroughly enjoy.
Which is, I think, the right thing to do. Because, I mean, we're different people. We're going to like different things.
There's quite a bit of crossover with us, though, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
No, and it's just, like, it's got that good vibe. I think she's from upstate New York.
Boston? New England. Let's just say New England.
Yeah, she's from that part of the country. And I feel like there's a lot of interesting music coming out of that area, mm-hmm. which is good. Not that there hasn't always been good music coming out of that area, but...
Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys is a band.
They're from Boston also, question mark?
No, and like this kind of like new age girl power rock is really I'm really digging. Like similar-ish but not really artists are going to be like Phoebe Bridgers, Lucy Dacus. They kind of have a similar vibe going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm really into all of it.
Yeah, she's definitely sort of in that, like, Phoebe Bridgers sort of, like, indie rock, but cool.
It's almost like, and I am not a music reviewer, and I don't understand musical concepts the best. But it's almost like a new side of like Riot Girl, because like I feel like it's like Riot Girl but softer.
Yeah,
it does kind of emote like the same kind of like frustrations and feelings and evokes a similar kind of emotions, but in a different way. And also, the guitar in this album specifically is beautiful.
Yes.
And done in such a great way.
Yeah, that, what you just said kind of clicks something where it's like a lot of her stuff almost like borders on grunge.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like there is sort of a grunge revival coming up because that was like the 90s, and 90s kids are old and nostalgic now. So
kind of slipping back into like apocalypse rock too, or
mm-hmm.
apocalyptic rock, because it is kind of darker, but it's not. I don't know. It's good. It's really good. Listen to the album is going to be the main takeaway of this episode. Is listen to Squirrel Flower.
Yeah, I would, spoilers, highly recommend this album. Much like all of her music. So go ahead and take a listen, pause, listen to the album, come back, and be disappointed that you're not listening to that instead of us. Yeah, should we do some podcast poison and give a quick track list?
Yeah, I'm down. I'll name the first 5 and you, or 6, there's 12. I'll name first 6, you get second 6.
Sure, that'll cut up the podcast poison a little bit. At least our voices will be different.
The album starts off really strong with I'll Go Running. It kind of sets the tone that you're about to go on this like big emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you do this too, but whenever I start listening to an album for the first time, I don't like looking at the track list. I like just like listening to it as like one giant super long song.
I'm like the opposite. I gotta look at the track list as it's playing.
I don't know. I like it's 43 minutes. I like listening to it as like a whole piece, mm-hmm. and then start going in. And it's not like you can't tell when one song ends and another begins, but I don't like it to be the focus.
I feel like some of these songs do have like a weird secret ending to them.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
There's a couple where it's like it ends, but then there's like still a minute left and another little snippet of something plays.
Mm-hmm. I also think that she does such an amazing job at like pulling in elements of previous songs that's like reprisal-esque, but not mm-hmm. just like a set reprisal. Like the whole album has a tone, and you'll hear pieces in the 11th song that you heard in the first that you're just like, oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah, she definitely has like, she definitely has like themes that go throughout and like imagery that she draws on multiple times, and it makes it feel like a cohesive piece of art.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then from I'll Go Running, it goes into Her to Fly, which is another just like, I said earlier before we started recording that I consider this a no skips album.
Mm-hmm.
I think cohesively this is one of the stronger albums I've heard in a while, potentially the strongest I've heard in 2021 to date.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to timestamp that 7/18. A lot of great artists that are going to come out with stuff in the second half of the year. But this was...
Olivia Rodrigo was the only other person I can think of.
My sisters are really into her. Which is interesting.
I don't know that I know like of her, but I don't know that I've actually heard any of her songs all the way through. But we're not talking about her today.
We're not talking about her. Number 3 on the list is Deluge in the South. And then it kind of rolls into Big Beast, Roadkill, and Iowa 146. Before we list off the second half, I want you to just play with me in this space for a minute.
Okay.
Imagine...
I'm gonna go get my space hat. Okay, I'm ready.
Imagine how powerful the vibe would have been if we had this when we went on a road trip to Colorado. The vibe would have been immaculate.
Mm-hmm. The vibe would have been immaculate, but we would have had to stop so often just because both of us were sobbing. It would have
this album did make me cry, but in a good, cathartic way.
Yeah, it would have taken at least 2 more weeks for us to get there and back.
And then another week to emotionally.
Yeah. It's like we're back, but we
Recover.
can't work or do anything in society because we're just ruined. Okay. So, this seems like a good point to pass the track list to me.
Yeah.
Because track 7 is Pass. Good at segues. Then we got track 8, which is Flames and Flat Tires. Number 9, whose title I can't remember. Just kidding. It's To Be Forgotten. That was another joke. Track 10 is Desert Wildflowers. Track 11 is Night. And we wrap it up with a beautiful little acoustic ballad called Starshine. And that's the album. And then you do a little bit of crying, but in a good way. And you just hit replay.
And you do that for 2 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel better.
Yeah. So cool. I think we've kind of touched on this, but you said it was a no-skip album for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think this compares to her first full album?
The first full album, okay. I feel like this album is more tonally defined.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely see like a progression in skill, and I loved the first album. Do not get me wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't mean like
absolute
which one was
banger.
worse, which one was better.
But I think tonally, this one is more cohesive,
mm-hmm.
and it does kind of feel like a set piece and not. She's found her tone, and I think in the previous album she was trying to like figure it out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that she did a really good job of like finding her sound and sticking with it throughout the album, and I think that's great. What about you? How do you think it compares?
I would agree with your points. I feel like this one feels more, I'm going to use a phrase that I don't like, but I can't think of another word. It feels like more intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Or it feels more, what do I want to say? It feels, I'm just going to say intimate, even though I feel like I don't like that word. But, I mean, it
personal,
feels
maybe?
Personal. That's maybe what I'm looking for. But yeah, I was kind of surprised at like how much acoustic songs, or how many acoustic songs were on this album compared to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first one has a couple that are just like acoustic, but this, I would say, like 80% of this album is acoustic, which was a fun surprise. And then like the singles, the 3 singles weren't like, are the 3 non-acoustic songs basically.
Mm-hmm.
For, well, give or take a couple. But yeah.
Which ones were the singles that they dropped?
I think Her to Fly was the first one. And then I'll Go Running, and then Flames and Flat Tires.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was expecting a different album based off those singles, but I don't hate what we got. I would say.
No.
It was a pleasant surprise.
I'm obsessed. I really am. Like, I don't really have anything negative to say about this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been, like, the soundtrack of my weeks since it came out.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
I can definitely see that. I would agree. I've listened to this album pretty consistently since it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to take a moment and step into Hydration Station?
Sure, let's do a little transitionary hydration station into the back half of the episode.
Ooh.
Hydration. That was a weird one. Hydration.
Hi, welcome to Hydration Station, the part of the podcast where we take a break from drinking alcohol and have a nice little sip of some cool, good water, because it's important to stay hydrated and have healthy drinking habits.
If you're trying to recall how the rain felt on your skin, just take a little sip of water, and that's what it's like. That's lyrics from the album.
Oh god, I feel stupid. Hell yeah. Anyway, this has been Hydration Station.
Hydration Station. Hey, welcome back to The Real Show. I guess that is The Real Show. I don't know. Which one's the real show?
The whole podcast is Hydration Station, and the segment is the rest of the episode. I love that.
Dave is just giving us all the big epiphanies.
Thanks, Dave.
Let's dig in a little deeper into this beautiful album. What would you say your top 3 songs are?
Can I guess what one of your tops is? One of your top songs on the album is?
Sure.
If I'm wrong,
I get a $50 Olive Garden gift card. As per our contract.
I like the concept of us just like getting a $50 Olive Garden gift card and we just pass it back and forth. Like we never go to Olive Garden. We just pass this.
Well, I mean, Olive Garden doesn't. They already have the $50. They don't care.
They want
us not to. They want us not to go because that's just free $50.
I'm gonna say one of your top songs is. I want to say one of your top songs is gonna be Roadkill.
Interesting. Interesting. You picked that one. Let's wait for the next part of this segment.
Do you want to guess one of mine?
Sure. I would say that one of yours is Hurt a Fly.
Interesting. But actually not accurate. I do like Hurt a Fly, don't get me wrong. My number 1 is Night.
A beautiful one, yes.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I think that it like plays into. It just feels like a good like. You just passed like the building moment and like it's like that first kind of starts to come down, which is just very like relaxing, and it's like the one right before the end, and it's just. It's starting to play you out, and you're ready. And then my first is I'll Go Running. It was the first song I heard on the album, and that's kind of like a consistent thing for me. Like the first one is kind of the one that I identify most with.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I said Hurt a Fly, because I assumed that was going to be the first one that you heard.
No, but I missed Hurt a Fly, and then I think I'll Go Running was the second one that dropped.
It was.
And then I listened to that one because I think Spotify popped up. They're like, you liked this band last time. Remember when you listened to her first album for 6 weeks straight?
Remember when we roasted you at your Spotify year-end thing?
Oh man, they did. That's what every year I just hope that it's better, but it isn't. I still get roasted. And then after that, I would have to say probably To Be Forgotten or maybe Desert Wildflowers. There are 2 other that are they just are really strong, and I just appreciated the sound.
Yeah. Night is. Oh, I'm gonna show my hand at how bad I am at remembering things. Night's the one that has like that little like acapella part towards the end, right, where she just repeats the same thing, just her voice. What's happening is Ryan is playing the song. To confirm or deny.
And yes, I think that's the one that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
See, here the shocker of the episode is I've been mostly listening to it in my car, so I don't have like the track list memorized to the songs yet.
Which I feel like is very different for you. Like we talked about kind of earlier, you like the track list.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in college, I had put on, I think we were hanging out in my dorm, and I'd put on like a Decemberist song.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had a very strong discussion about how it was weird for you listening to it out of order.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't like the way I structured listening to music, because in your head you're like, this should not be shuffled, and I definitely had it shuffled.
Yeah, well, there's like a little part of me that as the song is ending, my brain goes, this is the next song. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't happen, it hurts. But yeah.
I get that. I do that with playlists. Like I'll build out a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
I'll build out a playlist, and I'll start to like recognize the pattern of it. And so anytime I listen to, oh golly, what is that Lucy Dacus song? I Don't Want to Be Funny. The next song right after is Peach Pit. Oh good golly. I can hear it in my head, but
17. I can't remember any Peach Pit songs.
I know. Feeling Low. Which is like a weird thing to put, like it doesn't like mix, but like that's the... It's like anytime I hear I Don't Want to Be Funny Anymore, as soon as that starts to end, my mind immediately goes to
it's time for some Fuckboy Blues. Yeah. But that same part of me also is fine with like, if it's a playlist, if I'm not listening to an album, I can do shuffle. But if it's like the album, I can't do it shuffled. And that's just a me. That's a me problem, not a you problem. that's my journey that I need to walk.
Oh man, hell yeah! So, what would you say your top 3 of the album are? Was I right?
No, neither of us are right. We don't know each other at all. So I would say my top 3 are Deluge in the South.
I almost said that one.
Flames and Flat Tires. Oh no, I got 4. This sucks. You said 4, so I'll say 4.
Yeah, it's fine. There are no rules to podcasting. You just gotta talk into a microphone.
There's one rule. There's 2 rules. You gotta talk into the mic, and you also have to hit record and not have any effects on your voice. I've done both of those wrong before. So Deluge in the South, Iowa 146, Flames and Flat Tires, and Starshine are my top 4.
Really? I can see that. Damn. I really thought I was pulling something out with Roadkill.
No. I think if I had to pick like number 1 favorite, it would be Iowa 146. Because to me, it feels like remembering being in high school and driving around at dusk.
I would say that's a pretty consistent...
that I go for.
I feel like that's a pretty consistent Squirrel Flower trait, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but I mean, I feel like that one hits it hard, though.
Yeah,
she really goes for it.
I agree. Now the real question is, did I pick the one that you said that you would cut?
So here's a fun question. So we've established that this is a no skips. Every song is great. If we had to pick one song, because it is a 12 I mean, it's not like a long album, but it's 12 tracks. If we
Mm-hmm.
had to pick one track to say we're gonna cut this, I would say mine is Roadkill.
That was the vibe I was picking up. I was like, he has some kind of connection to Roadkill, and I guess it's that it's not your
Yeah.
favorite. It's the opposite of your favorite.
Yeah, it's not a bad song. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same problem that I Was Born Swimming has with Honey Oh Honey, is it's right before my favorite song.
Okay.
So I wanna get to my favorite song, and this one's just standing in my way.
I get that.
So if you had to pick a song to cut, what song would you pick?
It would probably be Hurt a Fly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like it's not a bad song. It's just like I don't know. Maybe like I'm just hurt that I missed it when it like first dropped, and I like listened to I like was getting into the album from I'll Go Running, but it didn't resonate with me as much as the other ones did. Again, great song, just not.
I do feel like Hurt a Fly is the one that you could take out, and like the momentum of the album wouldn't change that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like it's thematically different just enough to where if you took it out, the whole thematics of the album wouldn't be off either.
Yeah, for sure.
In a way that I'm curious if that's like the first song written for the album, because it feels that much different. I don't know. Questions
Yeah.
we'll never know the answer to.
We'll never know the answer to.
Oh, and that was our segment, Questions We'll Never Know the Answers to. Tune in next week when we ponder, where's Jimmy Hoffa?
And Ryan will ponder, who's Jimmy Hoffa?
All questions we'll never know the answer to. But yeah.
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 Great album. Again, like I think like it's an album that I can consistently listen to the whole thing. And I don't really feel like I have a moment where it's like I need to get through this song.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's something that a lot of albums have. Like if it's not even necessarily bad, it's just not. It's not it for you.
It's not engaging enough to, yeah. I know what you mean.
But yeah, I would consider this no skips. And if I had to pick, it would be Hurt a Fly. But it's all good. It really is. It really is. I love the album cover. It makes me want to drive to the Grand Canyon for some reason.
Yeah, is it like the orange rocks?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of Grand Canyon vibe? Yeah, I get that.
And
You want to go see the desert wildflowers? Is the Grand Canyon desert? Questions we'll never know the answers to. Surprise, surprise, reprise. What did I just say? Surprise, reprise. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said surprise, surprise. Okay. Surprise reprise is better.
That's a song title if I've ever heard one.
So, Matthew, do you want to give some final thoughts on the album and everything in it?
Yeah. So, once again, love all the music Squirrel Flower does. I do agree that this is a no skips. I think it's an album that like builds on all her previous stuff in a really interesting and cool way. Mm-hmm. And it's a really satisfying sequel, for lack of a better term, to I Was Born Swimming, her first album. I feel like a lot of artists really like misstep on their second album.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's really cool that she was able to nail it in such a profound way. What are your final thoughts before Skype kills us?
Agree, no skips. I also agree that I think a lot of artists kind of misstep with their second album, and I think that this was a strong diversion from that trend. I wouldn't say that it's like decidedly better than I Was Born Swimming, but you can definitely see like the growth and like her defining her structure a bit more. Love it. 10 out of 10. Go listen to it. If you don't like Squirrel Flower, why are you listening to the episode?
Yeah, that's another question we'll never know the answer to.
But yeah, I would
segment.
fan favorite segment that we just did today, and 6 times in one episode. But yeah, it's great. Go on a road trip and blast some Squirrel Flower. It'll be a good time, I can almost guarantee.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna like the way you listen. I guarantee it.
And you'll probably cry. Twice.
Yeah. Yeah, just be somewhere where you feel comfortable crying. Well, this has been another riveting episode of Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. If you, for some reason, liked what we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Rhetorical Magic / Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. I think our SEO is so bad that it's actually good. So you'll probably find us if you just look for that.
Lengthwise bad.
Lengthwise bad.
Search-wise
specificity.
and uniqueness good.
Yes. It's so bad it's good.
There we go.
I'm at RMCH Matt, I believe, on everything. I've got 2 paintings on Instagram. One of them's good, one of them's bad. You be the judge. Where can people find you? Right.
They can find me at Queer Mothra on Twitter. And after I delete a few people, Queer Mothra on Instagram. I hope. If it's not taken. It might be taken.
Fingers crossed. Gotta get it before this episode comes out, because somebody's gonna swipe it.
Someone will swipe it. You're right. Okay. Yeah. That's the best I can do. What?
It's the best we can do. That's the tagline for the episode. The best we can do.
As we say at the end of every episode.
Oh.
Yeah, we got it. Do we just have like a clean clink that you just stick in there?
No, I use whatever we do. However bad it is, that's what we get.